let's take a look at Fanduel, where I was looking this up a second ago, Jason. I was pretty darn surprised what I saw.
I know, we were texting about this. I was on the plane, and we're going back and forth on Slack about the Penguins' odds. I'm a little surprised.
So they're still plus 220 to make the playoffs at FanDuel. So you are getting significant plus money if you think that this team that's currently in playoff position, not just in the wild card, but they're sitting third in the Metropolitan Division. If you think they have a chance of continuing that, those are odds to scoop up now. And the really shocking thing to me was that ranks 8th among Metro Division teams. And so the odds makers still not necessarily giving this team a ton of respect, but I think that if they continue to win games like this that they probably don't deserve to win, they're going to do themselves well. But one of the reasons that I think they're probably still not getting that odds maker respect is that some of the players who have led this team are guys that I'm not sure people expect to keep it up. And one of those guys might be Erik Karlsson, who is having a resurgent year for the Penguins. He has been excellent, a true top blue line pairing with him and Parker Wotherspoon. But is this something that you think he can continue? I know you've dived into Karlsson a little bit for a story that posted this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that can continue, King. I think Karlsson, and I want to say this delicately, I think was held back, didn't mesh well, wasn't the right fit, something with Mike Sullivan. And I don't think that's a mark against Mike Sullivan. Anytime I have an opportunity to talk about him, I talk about what a fantastic hockey coach and person that I think he is. And I do that for a reason. But I don't think they were kind of oil and water together. And I don't think Karlsson loved playing here. And I think you're seeing, that Karlsson wasn't washed. He's not a bad player. He just was not in the right system for him. We're just seeing such a different version of him. He's more bought in. The gap integrity is something that I had brought up to me about something that, he's not super tight, but he's like the proper gap. He's not getting beat. He's not skating himself out of position. He's playing with confidence. He's making plays. We're seeing that on the power play and zone entries and that sort of thing. But just how he's closing out on people, how he's moving his feet. I dug into a bunch of stuff metrically we'll get to. But I am so impressed by what Erik Karlsson has done. And I do think it's sustainable.
So this Penguins team, if you look at only 5-on-5 situations, has given up the 9th most expected goals. Now, thanks to good goaltending and luck and whatever else, they haven't necessarily conceded that many on the scoreboard. Now, if you include all situations, so now you're factoring in the power play, penalty kill, everything else, then they're much better in that expected goals against category. But what about this Pens defense that Erik Karlsson has been a stalwart part of is struggling in those 5-on-5 situations?
I mean, I wouldn't say they're struggling in 5-on-5 situations. I think their numbers, like their goal prevention numbers, if you look at the number of goals given up, like I do think they're aided a lot by goaltending. And even Erik Karlsson, if you look at how he's fared, like a lot of his stuff has been influenced by save percentage. So there is some nuance there. But this is one where I'm kind of deviating from numbers in terms of like chances allowed and stuff. I mean, I've watched bad Erik Karlsson for 2 years. Fans have watched bad Erik Karlsson for 2 years. You can't watch this version of Erik Karlsson and tell me that it's the same as what we saw the past 2 years. But yes, I mean, some of what we're talking about 5-on-5, King, and what they've given up, and I think we had this conversation earlier in the week about, what they're giving up as a team isn't totally that different from the past couple of seasons. The big difference maker has been goaltending, or maybe that was the one I did on Monday. Now that I think about it, I think you jumped on Wednesday, but either way, like I'm deviating from it, and I'm choosing to deviate from it because I don't think numbers are everything, at least in this case. I'm using my eyes. What I've seen from Karlsson is a different player. Look at the power play. Look at how much more impactful he is on the power play. Look at the number of goals that he's on the ice for with Parker Wotherspoon 5-on-5. Last night was just the 11th goal the two of them have been on the ice for. That's not all save percentage. That's not all getting goalied out of being in the wrong position. Like, yes, it's had to do with the team. But I think you need to add a little bit of context there. And I just, like, another thing I go to, and this is, it's a number, but to me, it's different than 5-on-5 or save percentage. I was looking at this in the story, how he's skating, how he's moving. I forget who it was that told me something like, look at him move. We love the way he's moving. And even Karlsson said that he feels like he's moving in a different way. But skating wise, his top end burst, this is going to be too nerdy for some people, but NHL Edge has these stats. 23.39 miles per hour. That's what he's topped out at. 99th percentile league wide. And not all that far below Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, Logan Cooley, like some true speedsters. Had 48 speed bursts of 20 plus miles an hour. I know gobbledygook numbers, but like 97th percentile in terms of speed burst. Your average defenseman gets about a quarter of that. Like, it's all to say that his legs are there. He can skate. He's not making stupid plays. He's playing responsible. He's handling the puck well. That's why I'm saying it's sustainable. It's numbers mixed with context, mixed with what my eyes are telling me, that suddenly this guy didn't fake how to play hockey for this many games. Like 3 games, yes, he might have just been able to get some advantageous matchups and some things worked out. Like, risk-reward decisions are much better, and it is better within a team concept. He's got a partner. He's got all this stuff that he has lacked the past couple of years.
Yeah, and he has put up 18 points in 26 games, just 1 goal, but 17 assists. And I think his ability to shoot the puck from the blue line and get it on goal and create rebounds and deflection opportunities is another skill that, might not necessarily always even show up in those stats, because sometimes it doesn't get converted. But those chances he's creating, you can see it and you can feel it. And he has easily been one of the Penguins' best players this year. And I brought up the expected goals against stat. Another thing that kind of tilts the other way for the Pens is that they have been controlling the puck more than their opponents in most games. Yeah. If you look at the stats coming into the Lightning game, their O-zone possession time on offense was 7th in the league, and they were conceding the 9th best. And so they were definitely doing a better job of keeping the puck, or the 10th best on defense. So they're doing a better job of keeping the puck in their opponent's zone than vice versa. If you do that, that's obviously going to help your defense as well. And the more you do that, they're probably going to start to draw more penalties as well, and let that league's leading power play get on the ice.
Are they? You sure? You wrote about that this week. That's an interesting storyline with this team, man. I don't know if anybody has a magical answer for that.
It's really hard to understand. And I think Dan Muse said a lot by saying very little when I asked him about if there's anything that he thought was causing their lack of penalties drawn. Coming into last night's game, and I haven't looked at the stats since, but coming into last night against the Lightning, they had drawn the fewest penalties in the league, which is not what you would expect from a team that's producing offensively and is in playoff position. Of all the teams in the bottom 7 of penalties drawn, they had the most points on the season. So it's a storyline to watch that's probably out of their control, but to the extent that it is in their control, it's about keeping control of the puck and keeping it in your opponent's zone, and hopefully you force some mistakes. And last night they were the one committing the mistakes, but they didn't necessarily get burned for it, thanks to Tristan Jarry.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as Jarry continues this, man, it's going to be really good. Like, he's playing at such a high level. I think people understand and appreciate it. If they don't, I hope they do. Again, I don't know if it's sustainable. Like, this guy's career has been so mercurial, I think might be a good word for it. Like, he's been really good. He's been a 2-time All-Star, and then he's been really bad. And it's a separate storyline. We talked about this earlier on the podcast. What do you do? Do you trade him? Do you keep him? How do you roll? I mean, for right now, you just keep running it out there. But, yeah, I mean, that's the penalty number is something that needs to change. We can look at this past week and some of what they allowed. I think it was in pockets in Philly. They didn't have the greatest start, at least in terms of chances allowed. It got better. I would look at last night's game, though. That's not a recipe. Like, counting on that to happen and for Tristan Jarry to be that good all the time, that's just too much of an ask. You can't take that many penalties. You need to be afforded more than the Penguins have. Probably a separate discussion. But, man, that stuff's a lot easier to coach with a win, isn't it?
It sure is, and it's a lot easier to coach when you've already pulled out 4 points on a 3-game road trip that looked really daunting going into it. Philly, Tampa Bay, and now Dallas. Frankly,
what if they get 6 of 6? What
I
if
know.
they get FanDuel might have to change those odds, Kim.
I don't know. I'm not sure they're going to budge, but that would be a resounding road trip that then leads into a 5-game homestand. And folks, on that 5-game homestand, it is seeming extremely likely that Sidney Crosby could pass Mario Lemieux for the most points in franchise history. I believe he's 7 behind at this point.
Yeah, 7
behind Mario, and he's at a point a game type performance. So look out for some history in that road trip or on that homestand, and we'll keep you abreast of where he stands and what games are looking like a very likely opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. We'll probably get into that more next week, but I'm going to try to reach out to some of the guys who played with both of them and see. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard. Like I was wondering how many there are, and there are more, that are like reachable, quotable that people want to hear from, more than I initially thought. But we're in Dallas. It's a good place to get Sergei Gonchar. Maybe I'll bump into him. But the Rob Scuderies of the world, Brooks Orpik, Colby Armstrong, I didn't realize never played with both. But I have a list in my notebook here of the ones that I'll be hitting up. But it's going to be fun. Going to be a fun milestone. Guys are starting to talk about it. I thought it was interesting. Wednesday, Chris Letang talked about it and said, it was inevitable. As soon as, when we started playing with Sid, you knew he was going to pass Mario. Like, okay. I mean, you knew Sid's really good, but like Mario had a lot of points. I'm not sure it's like a given that you're just going to pass Mario, but I don't know. They see a different lens of Sidney Crosby, and I'm certainly not going to criticize Sid, but it's going to be fun when it happens, man. Looking forward to it.
It is, and it is going to happen soon. So follow along at the Post-Gazette, post-gazette.com for Sid chasing Mario and all the other Pens coverage. Jason is, as we said, on the ground in Dallas. He'll be covering the game against the Stars on Sunday. And
it's a barbecue pit behind me, King. I gotta. Where am I going? Oh, Dickie's barbecue pit. That might be lunch today. I don't know.
That's looking like a pretty good lunch. I've got to head down to the Steelers facility. So that's going to do it for us on the Post-Gazette Penguin Show. We'll be back with you Monday and 3 times every week. So like and subscribe wherever you get this. We're presented by Fanduel, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.